All right. Welcome to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am Al Kumar.
And I'm Hanifa.
And we are your hosts each and every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We come to you with impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. Today, we will be talking about dispelling the myths surrounding homeschooling. Should be very interesting. In the studio with us today, we have two phenomenal individuals. Miss Kalima is the mom, and Jamila is her daughter, who she has been homeschooling. And so we're going to talk to them just to get acquainted, that one-on-one approach on how she actually homeschools her child. And how all that is going. How you guys feeling?
We're feeling wonderful.
Awesome.
Welcome to the program. And Jamila, you're no stranger to the program because we had you on for the Young Entrepreneurs program. Yeah, a few months back. Yes. Okay, so again, we're going to hop right into the topic of discussion, and then midway we'll come to you with a little bit of information about what we do here at Everlasting Life. How you doing, Miss Hanifa? You good?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
I'm good. So you have any question you want to get started?
You can get started. That's fine.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, just starting with you, how did this come about? What was the decision, the defining moment that made you decide that you wanted to homeschool your child?
So I think the defining moment for me was kind of evaluating the school system she was in. Probably about in third grade. Third grade is when all those fine motor skills that they've been learning kind of supposed to come together and be implemented and secured and taken forth to the other grades. So although those were accomplished, some of the other aspects I was not as happy with.
Okay.
Cultural aspects, thought process, self-thinking, making decision-making, that kind of stuff. So that was the defining moment for me. She attended a very awesome school system in Fairfax County. So she's great at taking tests.
And that's Maryland for those who...
Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Okay, thanks for the correction.
So,
that's one of the better school systems, actually. In the best, right? In the country.
Yeah. So I was, she's in private school, and so, we were paying what we thought was for a quality education, but it was missing some key components. And so I had to evaluate and figure out whether that was the best option for her, and it wasn't. And so that was my defining moment. I was scared, but I knew that if she continued in that school system, she would not be living to her fullest potential.
So it's very interesting. How were you able to determine that it was the school system and not that particular school?
So she has been to two other schools in that school system. And I was not pleased with them. And so that was what kind of helped me determine. And I had spoken with other parents that kind of had the same thought process, and we all came to the same conclusion. Okay,
now you mentioned that Fairfax County, which I didn't know, was one of the best school systems in the country.
Yes, ma'am.
But yet and still, you still decided that wasn't a good fit match for your child.
No. Did you want me to expand on that?
Yes, please.
So academically, it was a great fit because I knew that she would go on and probably enter into Ivy League schools. She'd get great SAT scores. She'd probably have one of the better jobs in the country. However, if she wanted to not operate her life in that particular box, it would be very difficult for her. It would be a struggle for her to step outside of that box and kind of do something else. So I wanted her, or as a mother, I want her to be well-rounded. I don't want her to only be good at one thing. And if she's only good at one thing, I don't feel I've done my job as a parent. So that's how my evaluation came into play. It's like, okay, well, if she wants to take a year off and travel, or she wants to start her own business, or she wants to be a philanthropist, whatever it is, am I preparing her adequately with the education that I'm paying for? And that was a no-brainer, and the answer was no.
Is Jamila your only child?
She is.
Oh, because I was going to ask if you had any experience with homeschooling before this.
Never.
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 Did you know anyone around you that was homeschooling their kids?
I did.
Okay.
One of her teachers, kindergarten teacher, 2 years earlier, came out of the school system and started homeschooling her son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So-
that's not a ding, ding, ding sign.
Yes. Yes.
The teacher.
The teacher herself. And I never had the conversation with her. I just kind of said, well, maybe it's a family choice. Maybe they're traveling or whatever the case may be. But when I decided to homeschool, she was the first one I called. And I was terrified. And because I do not have teaching experience, I'm not certified as a teacher. And so I did not feel capable of taking on that task.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
No,
glad
go ahead.
that we kind of took it in this direction, because this is going to allow for the both of you guys to talk about this, because this is not just, this was new to you, but it was also new to Jamila, because this is 3rd grade we're talking about, correct? So take us on that journey, like when you first started homeschooling. Just kind of like give us a little bit of an insight on that. What did that look like?
So I did something that I would recommend no other homeschooling family do, is I tried to recreate school in its traditional sense.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So I basically purchased all the books that she was using and when she was in the traditional school system. And every day I tried to 5 times it, right? So if she had 3 pages at school, we were going to do 6. If she had 10 pages of reading, we were going to do 20. This was not enjoyable for myself or for her. And again, I was reinforcing that box that I was so desperately trying to get her out of without realizing it.
Interesting.
You went through the school system.
I went through
to
the
be
school
educated.
system.
So that's all you knew.
That's all I knew.
Okay.
That's all I knew. I went through the school system all the way, through college, master's program, all this stuff. So my conditioning
Yes.
was, this is the way you do it, this is the success, not realizing that's what I did not want for her.
How long did you do that? in
We
the
did that
traditional
for the
sense?
first year.
The first year, okay.
After the first year, we were exhausted, and we vowed never to do that again. So I had to start kind of experimenting, and I did not, we have not, as of to date, opted to kind of have a co-op, be a part of a co-op, because we did want to experiment and kind of see where we fit,
Okay.
to have those well-rounded options.
Now, how long has it been?
Okay.
Now,
6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
She's been homeschooled.
Yep.
I'm
Okay.
in the 9th grade now.
You're in the 9th grade. Let's get Jamila into
Yes.
this conversation, because what I admire about you, young lady, is that you are brilliant.
Thank you.
You are brilliant in a lot of different ways. But going back to the beginning, so for you, when your mom shared with you that this was going to be the plan, how did you feel about it, you being homeschooled, coming out of a school system?
Well, because I was in 3rd grade, the first thing that came to my mind was I'm going to miss all my friends. But at the same time, I was excited because my mom used to work in the federal government, and I didn't get to see her as much because I was in school and she was working a lot. And even after school and on the weekend, she was still working. So most of the time was over at my grandmother's house. So when I thought about it, I was really happy because I thought I was going to spend a lot more time with my mom.
Okay.
But then when we actually got there, and as she said, with the recreated school, I was like, okay, I wish I was back in school. But then again, as the year passed and we found a better method of me learning more, because we found out how I learn,
Okay.
like the way I learn. So I'm more of a person who learns on hands-on and physically, and actually participating rather than studying and reading from a book and memorizing and testing. Even though I'm good at it, that's not the way I learn. So we found the way that I learn, so that way in turn I am able to comprehend and be well off.
Okay.
Also, I have a different method of learning than I did when I went to school, because I study the science behind the subjects I do. So in turn, for example, if I'm studying mathematics, I'm not just going on based on what the school systems say. Archimedes is the father. Archimedes is the father of mathematics. I go and study the history and actually find out that Archimedes went to the capital city of Egypt, Alexandria, and learned from the people there about mathematics. So I'm not being manipulated and brainwashed by what the school system is teaching me. I'm going and studying for myself, so that in the future, when I do have to go and find jobs and opportunities for myself, I'm not just going based on a one-minded, false mindset based on what I learned in school.
Beautiful.
And that's the cultural aspect you were hoping.
Yes.
To grasp
Yes,
that
absolutely.
you weren't getting at the other,
Absolutely.
in the public forum.
Absolutely. I wanted her to be able to think for herself, to be able to dissect things for herself,
Yeah.
so that when she came across something that may be false, she can actually go in her own mind and say, well, let me figure out how to actually say, well, this is just false, but actually be able to prove it.
Right.
And that was the piece that was missing.
Okay. Now, Jamila, how
Critical
old?
thinking.
Yeah.
Critical thinking skills. Yes, so important. How old are you now?
14,
You're 14. And you mentioned you were in the 9th grade.
I am.
Now, is
I
that...
just started this fall.
Now help me out. Is that advanced, or is that are you where they say you should be, like if you were going back to the public school system?
I think I'm where, actually, in some subjects I'm higher, and then in other subjects I'm normal, but I'm not below
Good point.
Okay.
in any way or form. I'm not
Okay.
below. I'm either
Based
in
on
some
industry
subjects.
standards.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In some subjects I'm right where I'm supposed to be, in other subjects I'm high.
Okay.
Higher.
What subjects are you hiring?
Reading, writing, math, I'm right there. What other subjects? Social studies, history, right there. Actually, no, social studies and history I'm high, because again, I'm studying behind what I'm actually being told.
Right.
And reading, writing, math, science, I think I'm right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the things that you that is different in homeschooling versus when you were in school that you like?
I think the part that I get to be more physical in what I do. So if I'm studying and things of that nature, I'm not just studying from a book and going home and trying to memorize it. I'm more so doing activities and going to museums and things of that
That's
nature.
connected to that subject.
Right. And then also, me and my mom have the theory of that some subjects are more important than others. So there are subjects in homeschool, there are subjects that necessarily you don't really need to know, to be honest. So we
Want to
just
tell the listening audience what those subjects are?
so the important ones we know are science, math, things of that nature. So those are the ones we horn on in.
Okay. Good.
Reading and writing, they are important if you're living in America, because of course they have this notion of if you don't know how to read and write, then you're
not
illiterate.
intelligent.
You're
Right.
illiterate.
Right.
But really, when people came over from Africa, they say they were illiterate just because they didn't know the American European language. But we had our own language systems in Africa before they came and took us from where we originated from. So in my opinion, reading and writing is more one of those subjects that are lower down. It's important to know it because we live here in America, but it's not something as important as math and science.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. What would you say, Camila, is the most challenging thing for you about homeschooling?
I think keeping the content fresh for her, keeping the content interesting, and so that she will not just go back into that mindset of I need to retain this, I need to study it, and I need to ace the test.
Have you seen that here and there in your journey?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I can tell when she's getting bored or the material is dull, especially if she
Books.
yeah.
Dusty, boring books.
Yeah. She loves to read.
Yes.
So I guess I take that advantage of it sometime and not realize that the content of the books is not really
Yes, Mommy.
something
I love reading books.
Yeah.
I love reading books, but I don't like reading certain books. There are certain books I really highly enjoy reading, and those are the ones that I get to actually retain new information, something that I don't already know.
Right.
Like books by Carter G. Woodson telling me about my history, things I didn't know. Books about people who are inspiring to me, such as a new book and a new play that just came out. It's called Not Without My Hijab. Yes,
I heard all about that.
The Olympic fencer Ibtihaj Muhammad book. I'm currently reading her book. So books that either inspire me or books that give me something that I don't already know that I can go and say this is not something they're just trying to manipulate me with.
Yeah, she's very vocal about reading books that have hidden meanings.
Give you an example. My math book, I have a McGraw-Hill math book from 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
And because, again, my mom is very adamant about teaching me the science behind what I read and stuff, I noticed that there was these certain math problems that came up in my books. And it always showed an African-American male or female.
Little pictures.
Right, and then there was always another type ethnicity. And the goal was to, based on what you were learning, where there was fractions, multiplication, division, whatever the case, you had to decipher whether the African American was correct. So they actually listed the problem, and they had the African American girl or boy's answer to the problem.
I got you.
Then the other ethnicity, they had the problem and their answer to the problem. And your job as the student was to figure out which one was correct. And I noticed that every single time I actually did the problem for myself and got the right answer, the non-African American ethnicity was always right. So that's a hidden message telling you that we're not able to learn, or we have this thing they so-called ADHD or whatever, we're not able to learn,
Right.
or we're always incorrect when it comes to learning.
So in the book, every time there was a wrong answer,
It was always the African American.
Wow.
And so stuff like that. And so I noticed that she would come to me and point it out to me. Because I make it a point, I want you to be able to critically think for yourself.
Of course.
I don't need to stand and lecture you like a teacher. I need to be able to give you an assignment and you go and do it. So she would come back to me and say, oh, Mom, listen, I don't like this book. This book is, can we get another one from the library? And she would explain to me. And when I would go and check, sure enough.
Wow, every time.
Every time.
And even aside from behind, sometimes the books would just be too just like below my grade level, you know. There's a specific brand, I forgot the name of it,
That's
but
not
it's
sure.
I just forgot the name
Yeah.
of it, but it's a specific one. And it teaches me what I need to know, but it's just below
Even
what
if
I
it's
need
her
to
grade
learn.
level.
Right.
So it could be a
It's
ninth
not
grade book,
challenging.
but it's
It's just
way below.
Yeah.
So-
What are you reading now?
a book by Carter G. Woodson, Miseducation of the Negro.
Okay.
And I'm also reading Ibtihaj Muhammad's book, Not Without My Hijab book. And I have a few of my favorites that I like to read off to the side. It's a book called Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. It's an African American book.
Comic book.
Okay.
And then I also love reading autobiographies by famous black people. And what other books am I reading? It's a whole bunch of them, but that's the ones I can name.
Yeah. So what I'm finding here, a pattern is that she's learning a lot about her own culture.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm thinking back to a Fairfax County school system, and Black History Month relegated to one month out of the year, and even that is the information given is
repetitive.
I think you have to ask when they give schools labels like that, the best in the nation or the top 10 in the nation. You have to ask for who.
Yes.
You have to ask for who.
Good point.
Because we as people of color, black people in America, we tend to try to get within close proximity. That means something to a lot of us. So we want to put our kids in certain schools and be in certain neighborhoods, and sometimes to their own detriment, without really realizing that.
Understand.
We don't realize it.
Right, because I want to know, how does you being able to just absorb yourself in so much of your own culture and history, how does that make you feel? How does that affect your life?
Well, it gives me hope, and it gives me potential, because I have lots and lots and lots of things I want to major in. It's a long list, more than 10 things. I'm not even going to name them. But so being able to know that people in my history have done these same things that I aspire to do really makes me feel like, well, if they can do it, then why can't I do it too?
Yeah.
So it gives me potential and aspiration.
So you do one day want to go to college?
Definitely, but not in the traditional school system way. So I'll probably be taking online college courses. And probably the times that they do need me to come in physically, like for testing and things, I will. But always on the side, I'll always have my own contingency plan. I don't want to be an employee for someone else. I want to be my own employer.
You already have your own business.
I do.
Yeah.
But I also have other interests and things I want to major in. So of course I want to create businesses out of those as well. So that's why I do want to go to college, but not in the traditional school system way.
All right, I love it. If you're just tuning in, you are watching the Empower Hour talk show with myself, Al Kumar, and Hanifa. We are your hosts, and we are interviewing Kalima and Jamila, her daughter. We're dispelling the myths surrounding homeschooling. Kalima, question, what do most people believe when you tell them about your homeschooling and you hear the rhetoric that, the feedback? What are most people believing out there that's just simply not true based on your experience?
Okay. First thing would be that we're weird, and that I guess that we're some kind of anomaly.
Okay.
And that we're small in numbers. Those are the three biggest things that are just not true. Homeschooling families lead very normal, sometimes overly normal lives. We participate in the same activities each day. We have to do the exact same things. We have the exact same children who go through life stages and all those nice, great things. Believe it or not, and I was just speaking with you, I think, about this earlier, PG County now has become one of the larger counties for homeschooling.
And they have a lot of co-ops too.
Yeah.
With
And that's Prince George's County, Maryland, here in Maryland.
Prince George's County. And so
you said that homeschooling doubled. What was the percentage?
It was like 60% or something like that.
Increase in 1 year.
In 1 year.
Wow.
1 year. And that's from the homeschooling office, the Prince George's County homeschooling office. And so the numbers are growing, and that's just one county.
Wow.
So to have that many parents make the decision to say, hey, I'm going to homeschool, it definitely is something that's not weird or abnormal or, just those things just aren't true.
Another myth that you didn't mention, was surprisingly didn't mention, is the people act like they're so concerned about your child's social life.
Yeah.
Oh, socializing.
Yeah.
I kind of, when you hear it so often, you kind of just wipe it from your memory because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, that is the main one you hear,
Yeah, the socializing. So they think because your child is not in a traditional school setting, they're not going to get recess. They're not going to get access to friends.
Right.
They're never going to talk to anybody their age ever again.
They're going to be socially awkward.
And here's the real reality. And if she can chime in just to, because I want her to really give her experience, they actually have a lot more opportunities to socialize than the regular school systems. School systems are cutting field trips and things like that because of budget, recess. As a matter of fact, when she was in Fairfax County, they would skip recess if they didn't finish a lesson.
Wow.
And this was in 2nd and 1st grade.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't
And then the
understand.
teachers were so call us too active.
Yeah, they call them too active. But you haven't had recess and you're 6.
6.
And so, again, recess is probably 40% of her day.
Yeah.
And that's unheard of in a traditional school system.
Oh, sorry. Because you said you wanted to get her to give her experience as far as the social life is concerned.
I do have a wide variety, but I wanted to say that also to give people something to think about. You notice that children who are in the traditional school system, when they come across new children and things that they don't know, like we might be going somewhere and there might be children, and I don't know, your task is to get to learn to know someone new. And you notice the children in regular traditional school systems are always shy. They don't know how to approach.
Good point.
They're always worried about, will they receive me if I come up to them? But we as homeschoolers, we don't care about that. We just care that this is someone we can get to know new, and we have no problem with approaching them. I come up to, every time I meet someone new, whether I know them or not, whether the task is to know them or not, I just come up, I say, hi, my name's Kalima, what's your name? And from that point, they know that, oh, she's nice in the inside. This is definitely someone I want to surround myself with because she's nice to me.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of, will the person receive me?
Right.
So that's a social skill.
Yes.
Yeah, and what comes to my mind too is that I would assume that individually you are able to better control what morally and ethically and things that, the things that go in versus in school, and you have all these,
Hours for one.
right, and all these different people with different
Influences.
ethical,
Yeah.
thank you, that's what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
influences.
Absolutely.
And then that pays out socially as well.
Absolutely.
So now is your child getting the best influences?
That's right.
Or that you can control that in a homeschool setting a lot better than
right.
if she wasn't.
Yeah.
When you entrust your child to any school system, whether it be homeschooling, a co-op, traditional school system, they're vessels.
Yeah.
They're sponges.
Yeah.
Whatever you pour into them, it's going to come out in one way or another. So if you're not able to control the content that goes in, you're going to be at a disadvantage when you try to regulate it whichever way they see fit to express it. And so that was a big concern of mine too. Again, great test taker, but critical thinking, how can you control that if you haven't poured that into them
Yes.
or taught them these skills?
Yes.
So that's a big proponent of being a parent. You have to say, what do I ultimately would like to see them, as an adult? How would I like to see them as an adult? And sometimes that's you don't get it the way you would like, but you want to at least give as much as possible as a parent that, you see important.
I'm glad that you mentioned not just the public school system. There's the private school system there, and when I say private, we have Afrocentric schools. Anyone that you give your child over to.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Period. You can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's a trust thing because some people will say, I trust this school, but you still can't control that. That's a fact. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Another myth that, I think is a myth, that you often hear, which you touched on very briefly in the beginning, is, and I hear this from a lot of homeschool parents where they're like, I'm not a teacher, I'm not certified to teach. That's one of the fears, because when people think of school and homeschooling, we the only point of reference those of us that have gone to the school system know is our own experience, the traditional way. So when we think of homeschooling our children, that's what comes to mind. Oh, I'm going to have to do math for 1 hour and science for next, and then, and absolutely. I'm like, no, not really. But people truly believe that, and they actually shy away from it. Because some people have the desire, and they think that it's going to anchor them to their house.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sitting at a table for 8 hours.
So that's one of the myths that I do. It is. So your experience, and you can chime in as well, because I know I love the fact that you say we as a team.
We're a team.
When you're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that, because initially you started off that way.
Absolutely.
How did you? For 1 year, that's a long time, but okay. But how did you begin to make this shift, and kind of what triggered that?
So we did start off that traditional way. We realized it did work. I'm one of those people, we're going to give this a go. We're not just going to jump in and jump out. We're going to see and work through all the kinks. So that's why the 1 year.
Okay.
Otherwise, we were like, oh, this is not good. But the transition came when her desire and love for learning was not improving from what I saw when she was in Fairfax County private school system.
Gotcha.
She was kind of still approaching learning the same way. Let me memorize. I gave you the right answers. Let me take the test. And I'm done. Okay. It was no retention. She retained it, but only for the purposes of that test.
Got it.
Yep. So if I asked her something outside of that, like when she mentioned that she learned that Archimedes was the father of mathematics, if I asked her, okay, where did Archimedes study? I would hear like crickets. And I would say, okay, well, go figure it out. And they hadn't trained her. I understand she's only in the 3rd grade, but even if I said, okay, well, how would you figure that out? There was no process that had been put in place for her to figure out how to even go and figure that out. And I said, that's not good. In 3rd grade, you should at least know, well, let me go to the library, maybe let me look on the internet. And those critical thinking skills, I guess, to my maybe I was far-reaching or something, but they weren't developed to where I thought a 3rd grader should, at least have basic stuff. It was kind of like, my teacher told me, or, this book said. And so that was where the transition came.
Interesting.
Because I was like, well, can you tell me why they said it? And that was, kind of where the red bells went off for me.
Wow, interesting stuff. Because I'm thinking about most adults these days, and how a lot of adults, shouldn't say most, but a lot of adults prefer not to research, or they don't pick. I heard a study recently that most people don't read after they come out of school. That's it. And where the joy of learning is not there. Versus, what I'm saying? And I'm wondering if that is because of how we were taught to learn.
Absolutely.
In our formative years.
The joy of learning is snatched from you really early. You learn the way they tell you to learn. You learn the way that the whatever the blueprint is for that grade.
That's it.
And anything beyond that, you have to wait until you get to the next grade. And that's kind of what I like about homeschooling, is that, like you mentioned, Jamelia, where you were saying, there are some subjects that you're stronger in, and then there are those that you're just right there. And being able to say that, because for some people, third grade is third grade. Third grade social studies, third grade science, but you're saying I might actually be on the 10th to 11th grade in some subjects, and others I'm actually on the 9th grade. And a lot of people who are in the school system are not able to say that.
Right.
Plus, I just wanted to mention the traditional school system, when it was started for people to go to work.
Yes.
And it has not changed very much
Yes,
over
it's
the
an
years.
antiquated
The times have
system.
changed.
Yeah.
Very
Even though the
antiquated.
times have changed, you hear now there's not enough people who are majoring in computer science to be ready for a changing world.
Right.
point.
We're still training for an industrial
Good point.
civilization.
Yeah.
Good point.
So if I'm entrusting my child or children to a school system who is still preparing her for an
be a
industrial,
worker. Yeah.
for an industrial civilization, am I really doing my part as a parent, knowing that?
And is she being prepared for the future?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is she being prepared for the
Now,
future?
I know we got to get into promos,
Yeah.
and then after the promos, I want to kind of get into some solutions, because we already have some
Yes.
questions. We have one question that I have
Okay.
as a parent,
Yeah.
but once we finish with the promos, then we can get into that.
Okay, going right into the promos. We are here at Everlasting Life Lounge, located at 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Everlasting Life is a full-fledged restaurant. So much more. This is one of 3 locations. Actually, it's been doing some transitionary things going on here at Everlasting Life. So there's a new location coming up right in the heart of Anacostia.
Oh, cool.
Yes, in D.C. So if you're familiar with the Anacostia Arts Center on Good Hope Road in Washington, D.C., you will be able to enjoy great tasting vegan soul food there very soon. So keep tuned for that. Children eat free right here at this location every Tuesday from 6 to Thursday, from 6 to 8 p.m. Bring your children here, 12 and under, as long as they're accompanied by a paying adult. They get a full, wholesome, free meal and get to enjoy activities with other children. Following that up on Fridays, every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. is our dinner and a movie series. We offer a documentary, something centered around us as a people, and we air that on the big screen, and then we follow that up with a group discussion. So that's every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's free. Every first Saturday of the month is our Black Wall Street Renaissance, where we fill the lounge area with local small business owners who come and provide their products and services for sale. And you can come shop. And then we open the stage up for other activities as well. And that's always free all day from 12 to 6 p.m. Very festive occasion. Marketplace is another vendor's marketplace. This one specializes in healthy produce and supplements and organic herbs and spices, vegan groceries, things of that nature. That takes place from 11 to 4 p.m. That's our marketplace. We're doing something special in December where you can come and shop every Saturday in December, all day from 12 to 5. That's every Saturday in December. We'll be opening the lounge area up for a marketplace. So come on and join us for your shopping pleasures in December. All right, I believe, we have a special, something coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's going to be a workshop on cancer, diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, things of that nature. Brother Shalim Flemons, he's the doctor of biblical wellness. He's coming to talk to us about restoring your health in a refreshing way. And it's free. It's free. That's one of our goals here at Everlasting Life, is to bring you good content for little or no monies. All right, going back into our discussion today, which is on dispelling the myths surrounding homeschooling. And we're here in the studio with Kalima and her daughter Jamila. So, homeschool solutions.
Yes, let's talk about solutions, because you may have, so we know that in our community, we have a lot of single parent homes.
Yes.
So that's one of the questions that always come up. And I'm gonna let you speak to that, because in the beginning you talked about your mom was working in the federal government and you were in school all day, so something changed on your end, I'm assuming, as far as employment, to be able to homeschool.
Yeah.
Well, you made the changes probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can tell us about that. But I wanted you to speak to maybe parents who have to work.
Okay.
Have to work to provide, because they're the source of income for the household, and we have a lot of that in our community. How can that parent perhaps go about, maybe if not homeschooling, getting connected to a co-op, or what do you call the word that I'm looking for? I don't want to say compensate, it's not the word, but where they can use, like maybe when the kids get out from school. Teaching them cultural aspects, because I know for me that's sort of what I have to do. I use the weekend for that.
So I know what you mean. I know what you mean. My parents did the same thing when I attended the public school. Yeah. Okay. So I actually started my homeschooling journey with her as a single parent.
Okay.
About a year or two into it, I married. And currently I am a single parent in this homeschooling journey. Yes, I had to make a financial decision to come out of a very well-paying job to homeschool her. It was not easy because it was the only source of income that supported us. And we had become accustomed to living a certain lifestyle. However, as a parent, sometimes it's not about what you want, it's about what will ultimately be the outcome of whatever decisions you make now. And I knew if I continued to work and have very little time with her, the vessel that she is and was, and what was being poured into it, I was not going to like the outcome. And I would only have myself to blame. So that's how I kind of made that hard decision, was to take online jobs in my same profession. So I'm an IT professional. So I had the flexibility of kind of going online and still supporting us, but at a very lower pay.
So sort of working from home.
Yeah. And it was hard. I'm not going to I'll tell anybody, you have to assess that. You have to take care of yourself. But here's the awesome side of it. I found out I could live on much less and be so much happier. And I actually got to do things that I did not have the chance to do when I was making triple what I was making before.
Wow.
And that's a true statement.
Wow.
I was making triple what I live on now.
Wow.
And we actually get to do more now than what we did before.
More freedom.
More freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom it's people don't put a price tag on it, but you should.
So the things that you wanted to see open up for her has also opened up for you on the journey. On the journey. Yeah.
On the journey.
So what sounds like could have been a sacrifice really
was a blessing.
Wow.
Was an absolute blessing. Now, I didn't see it that way at first.
Yeah.
I just saw my money was going. And how am I going to raise a child on, I come from a very financially deprived upbringing.
Okay.
I grew up in Southeast DC, and we had very little, and it was 5 of us. I did not start out in a single parent household, but in my teen years it became one, and I saw the struggle, and I vowed that was not going to be an existence that I wanted for my home life and my child.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a sacrifice. It was actually a blessing in disguise.
Wow.
A blessing in disguise.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks for sharing that story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the biggest concerns. So now, do you have to not work in order to homeschool?
So this is not the case. You can actually, and now most jobs have some sort of, it's like the Family Leave Act.
Yes.
Where you can work special hours so that you can actually homeschool or be with your family or something. It falls under the, I think, the Family Leave Act. And you might want to investigate that more with your place of employment. But I know quite a few parents who work and homeschool as well. And they do have a support system, such as a co-op. Or family members that receive the children or something like this. But you can definitely work a full-time job outside of the home and still homeschool. It's very doable. Very doable.
What does your daily routine look like?
So it's very busy. In the mornings, I dedicate morning, because in the mornings my brain is most sharpest and fullest because I'm just waking up and things. So I dedicate the morning to my studies, whatever I have to study for the day. And of course, because I have a business, I dedicate certain hours of the day to making my products and things of that nature. I have breaks in between. Socializing comes when I have time, so that could be
Love it.
that could be by myself doing what I enjoy doing, or even days that me and my mom just dedicate just to spending time with each other, having fun and things of that nature. But I do have a busy schedule of learning, making sure that in the future I have a plan for myself, and at the same time just being a kid.
Great stuff. Yeah, because I definitely want to reiterate the whole thing Hanifa brought up about not having to sit at a table for 8 hours every day, grueling over paperwork and still learning. I mean, this child is brilliant. And most homeschoolers, from what I understand, operate on a higher grade level than their counterparts in school. And they don't do that. They don't sit at a table for 8 hours grueling. And so they have fun. And, you know, they have rest times and things of that nature. So I think I want to reiterate to parents out there that, you know, this can be done without having it be this stringent, grueling routine of every day work, and no play at all. For both, for the parent as well as the child. You say that again?
To be honest, every day, for me, I don't like sitting, so I barely sit every day. The most I'll sit literally out of one whole day, if you like, I don't do it straight, but like if you count the many times that I sit per day and the length of time, it will only add up to maybe an hour out of the whole day that I sit.
Right.
Because I just don't like sitting.
We like a more interactive approach to learning and just living in general. So that sitting at a table thing, that was the one thing I said when I started the journey I wasn't going to do. You know, I was going to, she could read and write, so I would give her the information, and I need you to do it. Because that didn't work for me in school. I absolutely hated that. You know, people talking at me all day. You know, that was not a very fun part of my education, but again, I did it because it was what we were told to do, and you know.
You know, interestingly, and I only know this because I'm secretly doing my research on homeschooling. But I know when you call the education, like when they give you a packet, a part of the learning that you can actually check off as like an activity. It's like travel. You know, the museums, that's the thing, and which is what she's talking about, where they can talk about the subject,
a whole bunch of places.
and say, oh, okay, we learning this subject, let's go down to the museum, look into that. You can travel out the country, and when you submit your paperwork, it's counted as like a learning project or something like that.
We actually have an example of that. So,
Black Wall Street.
you want to tell me?
We were studying about the Black Wall Street. And before this, I didn't know there was multiple Black Wall Streets. I just knew about the one in Tulsa. No.
Oklahoma.
So we took a field trip down there. My mom will tell you about the airline deal, but we took a trip down there, and we actually got to go to the Greenwood Culture Center. We got to go to the Mabel B. House, and we also got to what was the other one? The Reconciliation Park.
Wow.
So we put all of that in our homeschool curriculum, and it was above and beyond what was necessary or what they would have gotten because of Okay, well, we got to pay for a bus. Okay, well, we got to get parents' permission. Okay, well, we have to get somewhere where all the teachers are available. We didn't have that issue. Even in a co-op setting, you're more free to actually give them hands-on experience. You know, I don't know a school system that's been down to Tulsa.
Right.
At all.
Right.
You know, Afrocentric or not.
Exactly.
And our tour guide was actually a college professor from the Tulsa,
University.
Oklahoma University.
Oh, wow.
And as a part of that, she had me write an essay about my experience down there, and we emailed it to her, so that went in my homeschool portfolio.
Yeah, your portfolio. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So things like that, those are invaluable experiences that, you know, will help her retain the information about that, you know, horrific event, and actually the awesomeness that came out of it.
Right.
In no other way that, you know, you couldn't get that from a book.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you come across different subject matters or things that you may not even be well versed in, but she needs to know, do you what is your
We
what
learned
do you
together.
do?
Yeah, I peruse it for appropriateness, number one, especially if it's one of those tougher kind of subject matters, you know, dealing with maybe some things that might not be appropriate at this age for her, but I know she still needs to know it. You know, like gender specification and things like that. That is a part of the world we live in.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
need to prepare her
Right.
to be able to be versed in these things. This is
Thank
a
you
part
for
of her
that.
being
Yes.
well-rounded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And
So
also certain things in politics as well.
yeah, politics, like what's going on now.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I have to peruse it first. We do not watch television. So
That's why I love to read.
yeah, we used to. But now I peruse things first, and I kind of let her explore it based on what I've kind of filtered out. And
Right.
that's not necessary.
And also, every time we do watch a movie or something like that, my task, mainly after the second time, the first time is always enjoyment, but the second time is always to pick out the hidden things in the movie that maybe weren't visually right there in front of someone to see, but maybe that the third eye caught.
Absolutely.
So you go behind the scenes of the story in the
Which is
movie.
what she was saying she loved to
And
do.
right.
It's
And
almost
so
like
you're
being
able
a
to see.
detective.
Yeah. Wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
What would you offer to those parents who hear this program and do want to go in the direction you did?
Yep.
What advice would you offer them on how to start, where to begin?
Okay. So there are some official resources out there, like there's homeschooling office in basically every county, the district. So I would say if you just want some practical information on how to get started, maybe start with one of those offices. But just find a homeschool co-op and go do a visit day. You know, they'd be more than happy to let you come on down. Just see how things operate.
They're like
And-
family.
Yeah.
How does that work anyway, a homeschool co-op? What does that look like?
So a homeschool co-op, basically, parents like yourself have formed a community, a group, and each parent teaches a subject. So it's not all on one parent.
Yes.
Okay.
So I may teach mathematics,
Yeah.
another parent may teach science,
Yeah.
but your children are benefiting from all the subjects.
Okay.
And so normally there's a monthly fee of some sort, very nominal, nothing exorbitant, unless you get with some of the bigger homeschooling co-ops. But it's
Do the children rotate different homes? Is that how it
it's
works?
normally located in a centralized location, so maybe a community center or a designated space.
Okay.
And so they have the classes there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do the home thing sometimes, but those are, I guess, when you're more intimate with the parents.
Yeah.
You know, if you trust them.
Yeah.
Things like that. But that is not always the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So get with
One thing I want to tell all the parents out there is that don't be afraid to homeschool us, because you guys are the ones who taught us when we were little how to walk, how to eat, how to do all those things in order to be able to even go to school. Because when you go to school, the teachers and stuff expect you to already know how to do certain basic things. But who taught you before you went? Your parents. So don't be afraid.
That's right. That's a great point.
Great point. Excellent point. Thank you for it. What would you say to children that are homeschooled, or who may be wanting to be homeschooled?
Or who is just being introduced to it.
Yeah.
Well, from certain children I've actually talked to, don't get under the impression that you'll be home and then that means you don't have to do work. 'Cause that is not the case at all. So don't even get that in your mindset.
Yeah.
But I would say being homeschooled will very much benefit you because your parents only want what's best for you.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So they're going to, in no type of way, teach you wrong or anything. And if they do, that's a mistake. No parent wants the worst for their children. So for all the children out there whose parents want to homeschool them and stuff, trust your parents because they know what's best for you.
I love it.
And I feel like as parents, we can tune in a way that no teacher can.
Yeah.
That's
A
right.
classroom of 18 children,
That's right.
there's no way your child can get, and they
No.
don't, like, you don't, they don't
We
know
all
your
learn
child the
different
way
ways
exactly.
and we all learn on different
Yeah.
levels.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this was so good.
It was so
Yeah.
good. It was
Yeah.
so good. Thank you both
Thank
for
you.
It's
sharing.
always a pleasure to talk to Jamila because I'm just
So brilliant.
Yeah, I know. It's like talking to my peer, someone my age, trapped in this little body.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
always a pleasure. And to you, Mom, you know, thank you for the
Thank
work
you,
that you're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. For we feel much better knowing that you're sending
Yes.
this child out into the community.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Real quick though, we do want you to share what you do. What's your business?
Okay.
Let the people know.
So my business is called Dinkra Styles. It's a craft design firm promoting literacy about African heritage through the creation of fun, engaging, and colorful products that are all handcrafted and sculpted by me. And my website is www.dinkrastyles.com, and my social media handles is @dinkrastyles with 2 Z's on the styles. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Dinkra Styles is spelled DINKRASTYLEZ.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, family. Again, this has been the Empower Hour with Alpamar and Hanifa. We do this every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Please join us on social media. Stay connected so we can get you more excellent content just like this. We're under Empower Hour Talk Show on Facebook, and you can find us under Miss Free the People on YouTube for all our past episodes. That's the MS Free the People. Until next week, take care of each other. Peace.